Meow, 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 meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everyone, Cantonese Cat here. Gonna go through two miners here real quick, Bitfarms and Cypher. This is the monthly chart of Bitfarms. Before I do that, I always want to start out with what are the institutions doing. Are we at the peak? Are the institutions selling or are they buying? The first, right off the bat, you look at Fintel.io, it's going to give you a chart right here. You can see that over the past year or so, it's just been exponentially increasing in terms of institutional ownership. Right now, it's got close to around 25% of institutional ownership. There's still a significant amount of insider ownership, but institutional ownership has been increasing pretty drastically over time. And that's usually a favorable indicator. And I don't see any really big sign for selling either. Now, there's an indicator is available on TradingView, the Blackhead L3 Banker Fund Flow Trend Oscillator. That doesn't tell you the exact inflow, but it's more of like a trend oscillator. So it's going to have a little bit of a delay here. That's okay. So far, the trend, even if the price has kind of gone downwards, the trend from what the whales are doing, institution is doing, actually has been pretty well confirmatory. Over last year, really see a decrease in outflow and increase in inflow. And that's, kind of fits what we're seeing on Fintel.io data. If you look at the volume itself, it's also very, very, very apparent in terms of what it's trying to do, is that there's a big kind of, horizontal resistance level over here. And there's been significant over the last year and a half, there's been significant increase in buying volume and significant decrease in selling volume. So when it buys, you're going to end up having this big increase in buying volume over here. And over here, back in December 2023, we have a big volume breakout of this horizontal resistance zone over here. And right now, volume has just been kind of declining as we're going a little bit way too far, way too fast, and we're just back testing this level over here. So far, it's tested it once, and now it's testing it twice. And so far, it looks like it's kind of finding support here. So the whole trend over here from the volume perspective and whale inflow, outflow perspective is looking pretty decent. And if you look at the RSI to try to see what it's doing in terms of whether or not you see any potential bearish diversions, not really. The price goes up, RSI goes up, and right now RSI is still pretty far away from being anywhere near overbought. So I think we might still be at the early innings in terms of where we are at right now. Now, in addition to looking at the RSI, I'd also like to look at the unbalanced volume. One thing off the bat is, we were a little bit overbought over here. And what ends up happening is that you did have a little bit of a divergence over here. There's actually a bearish divergence, a little hidden bearish divergence over here, where the price has kind of gone down over here. But the unbalanced volume or BV is slightly increased. So that was a little bit alarming, but that has worked out already. Like currently there's really not any active bearish diversions over here anymore on the OBV. And I think that things are getting a little bit more reset over here. I think that is really going to be allowing price to go up a lot higher because of that. I don't see any bearish divergences that are to be concerned about anymore. I guess this is what I'm trying to say, both in terms of RSI and in terms of OBV. Now, what is the Ichimoku cloud telling us? I put out the Ichimoku cloud here. It's telling us that the trend is actually turning bullish. The whole year and a half of price action where it's just been making all these higher lows and higher highs, and it finally got us to this point over here where the back test of this horizontal zone. And one important thing to look at is the Tenkan, which is the red line over here. During bear market, it can continue to downslope and it can serve as resistance. But during bull market, what happens is it can flip this resistance level here as support and it can uptrend. So far, it's just been doing nothing but uptrending. Unfortunately, so far this month, the price has broken underneath the Tenkan. But we do have a bullish development over here, which is the Tenkan is the leading line, whereas Kijun over here is the blue line, is the lagging line. And you have a little bit of a bullish cross over here. That tells us that price has gone on bullish enough for you to actually have a indicator here telling you that a bull trend on the monthly is now intact. And we see a bullish cross over here again. It'd be nice to have some confirmation if price is back above of it in balance and go up further. It'd be nice to have some confirmation. But when you see a bullish cross here, it's telling you that price has gotten up enough to the point that it's starting to develop a longer term bull trend. And this long term bull trend could potentially last for another 12 to 18 months or so. When it is able to break above around this area, I do think a big move can be, coming up relatively soon. The reason why is because this whole down leg over here, the volume has just been, kind of decreasing. Whereas the whole up leg over here, volume has just kind of been increasing. So this fits that whales and smart money has been buying in, and when they're going down, they're trying to just basically exhaust all the weekends and try to make sure that we got a good foundation before bouncing up here. In addition to the Ichimoku cloud, you can also put up the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Band is still saying that the 20-month moving average is still pointing up. Price is still spent about half a year above on the upper part of the Bollinger Band here, which tells you that the trend is more bullish than bearish. And the 20-month moving average would most likely continue to keep pointing up because we consolidated for about 4 or 5 months now. The Bollinger Band is kind of, taking a little bit of break in terms of the expansion. But I do believe once you're able to break above the zone right here, and the breakout's most likely going to go up to the upside because it's got the 20-month moving average is pointing up because price has spent about 5-6 months on the upper part of the Bollinger Band. I think most likely when price does break out, and most likely would end up having Bollinger Band expansion, with price continue to ride on the upper Bollinger Band, continue to go up higher together with it. That's my suspicion. That's what's most likely is going to happen based on what I'm seeing. In terms of the weekly, you can also extrapolate some additional information here on the weekly here too. One thing I do want to look at on the weekly is something called the unbalanced volume here again. There is a very, very nice hidden bullish divergence where price has just kind of gone up, but the unbalanced volume actually gone down. That actually tells you that there's a lot of bullish momentum that's building up during this move over here that could transpire soon. Another thing to look at too, instead of just looking at these indicators, let me see whether or not there's anything concerning from the RSI perspective. If I pull up the RSI over here, what are you going to see? You're going to see that not much actually. I mean, RSI basically has already reset it from this point over here. Price has gone up a lot higher, but RSI has now been about the same. You have a big giant reset of RSI over here, allowing price to potentially go up higher. This is a relative bullish, hidden bullish divergence over here because RSI is now reset. This is actually a pretty good sign. Now, even if you don't look at all these indicators, if you just look at the volume bars, you can see that there's a big volume breakout of this horizontal zone over here. And right now, it's just having these kind of declining volume back tests of this zone right here. Is happening once, now it's happening twice. So far, the trend is still looking pretty decent. Again, you have these like higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. A little bit of higher low here, higher high here. It does kind of break down below this higher low over here. Like right now, it is forming a little bit of a higher high and a lower low. So the trend is a little bit less clear. But the longer term trend is still more bullish. If you look at the monthly indicators, it's still bullish. If you look at the volume indicator, it's still bullish in terms of the momentum that is building, right? I just showed you that the RSI as well as the unbalanced volume, there's some pretty decent bullish divergences they're really building up. So I think that the bearish momentum are significantly decreasing. Now I don't know whether or not you're going to end up keep on having these low volume selling. You can keep going down a lot further. But all I'm saying is that the bearish energy is really trying to get exhausted right here. And it's been consolidating, doing nothing for about 3 or 4 months now. And I think that we might be getting close to a potential breakout. Once you're going to start having just a little bit of bullish energy come in, you can potentially having a pretty decent breakout here. Of course, all this is going to be contingency in terms of what Bitcoin's doing, but it also is doing its own thing and is following its own technicals and doing its own back tests. And so far, it is showing us some pretty constructive, price action over here. To confirm the bull trend, if you just look at the weekly moving averages, I'm just going to put up a lot of the weekly moving averages over here. Now, instead of 20, I have 30 here. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to 20. You have these weekly moving averages. They're very, very nicely separated from one another. It's forming a bull trend. 20 is about 50. 50 is about 100. Very, very nice bull trend that just started to transpire late last year. And right now, price did kind of break down a rising 20. I don't think the rising 20 is going to serve as pretty bad resistance at all because it's uptrending. And I think that once it's done doing this sideways correction on decreasing volume, if it needs to have green candles, it's probably going to end up breaking this relatively easily. And you also see even the 100 is really slowly to kind of turn positive over here. So a very, very nice bull trend is being developed on the weekly. If you look at the daily, of course, it's a bear trend. I mean, like pretty much all the miners, if you look at the daily, they're bear trends, but that's not the time frame that I'm operating in. I don't care. If you're looking at the levels in terms of how far it can go down, could it go down to the 50 moving average at 1.78? Sure it can, right? That's always a possibility. Can it go down to the weekly lower Bollinger Band to around like 1.6 or something like that, and go down below this horizontal range right here, just as a little bit of a liquidity grab? Sure it can, right? All of these levels down here are all possible, just like the level up here. Is it possible that it bounced from here and go up? Sure, but it broke down of it on low volume. It is what it is, and people keep on wanting to sell and see how far price can get down on low volume, and things are trading hands from from weak hands to strong hands, as shown by some of the other indicators I was showing you earlier with the RSI hidden bullish divergence and the OBV on balance volume bullish divergences. I do think that what's happening right now is that the stock is being traded from weak hands to strong hands, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. So these are some of the longer term trends I'm seeing, and overall the trend is definitely a lot more bullish than it's bearish based on all these indicators that you're showing, based on all of these volume signatures that are showing right now, and based on some of the bullish divergences that are being built up. Some of the key levels, if you just go ahead and pull up the chart right here to show you the volume shelves, price basically just been bouncing between this big volume shelf up here and another big volume shelf down here. It's just been basically ping-ponging between these two levels. And it's going to work out its own technicals whenever it's ready to break through. A lot of energy has already been spent here by the bears to try to exhaust the bears to allow more of a clear sky for the price to kind of go up. And I do think the price has kind of gone sideways enough for you to really be able to push back up, relatively quickly once you're starting to have, some more impulsive bullish energy to come in. I think it's just a matter of time, but I don't know when that is going to be. In terms of how far the price is going to go up, I don't know, I can show you a little bit about that too. But I do think that once you're able to break above these volume shelves up here, you can potentially hit the volume shelf up here around $5. Some of the other indicators to kind of show you again, if you just pull up the moving averages, again, I was showing you 1.78. Down here is like 1.4, 1.5. There are some volume shelves down here, like the bottom of this big volume shelf is really 1.75, which is a little bit closer to this 50-week moving average over here. So that could potentially serve as a support if it ends up going down further. It doesn't have to, but it could always do that, right? Another strong level I was showing you is 1.5. That was also, basically you have a lot of different kind of support levels down below. I'm not really that worried in terms of risk level. I'm more worried because of looking at how the volume is going. I'm more worried about missing the train, but to be completely honest with you, I'm just weird like that. I don't know, and maybe it's just a different way of thinking. Maybe the way I'm thinking is faulty, maybe because I'm not protecting my capital, and you're really supposed to trade in and out and just try to be perfect and try to time these moves perfectly. Maybe I'm being wrong here, I don't know, but I'm just showing what I'm showing here. So now, done with talking about Bitfarms, I do want to quickly make this a combo video about CIFR mining here as well, to do the very, very similar thing about CIFR mining overall picture, monthly chart. What are whales doing? Are they buying? Are they selling? What are institutions doing? You have a big exponential buy over in March of 2024. Big increase in institutional inflow. You can see that with the price action over here too, and you can also see that with big giant green candle over here. Big institutional inflow, and that has actually increased so far in April. There's actually more people buying over in April, but the price has kind of gone down. What gives? Well, maybe it's because there's a little bit of a fake out, who knows. Now, this I do not have the L3 banker fund flow to show you on the monthly because price hasn't really been around for that long, and that was more like an oscillator. It does take a little bit of time for it to start, popping up. So if I'm going to pull up the indicator, nothing's going to show up, right? But so far, Fintel.io is showing you that there's increased institutional buying. Also, big increased buying volume, declining selling volumes over here. Another big increase in buying volume over here. The trend so far in terms of volume is very, very bullish. The short-term volatility can certainly happen, and it can drop like 7 or 10% a day, and that is not anything out of ordinary in terms of Bitcoin miners. But just look at the structure. So let's look at the structure. It looks like a big giant cup and a small cup right here. Like just looking at the structure, it just looks like a big accumulation range and a small accumulation range right here. And the volume is also very supportive. Whenever volume goes by, increases, volume sells, decreases. Like all of this is a very, very classic kind of accumulation pattern. All these are very, very classic accumulation volume signatures over here. So the trend is up because it's just been kind of forming more higher highs and higher lows than anything, right? And the pattern of it is also very, very bullish. Also looks like accumulation pattern over here. If you pull up some of the other indicators over here, you can see that if you put the Ichimoku cloud, there's no cloud quite just yet. But currently, you're looking at a nice bullish Tenkan Kijun cross over here. Tenkan has been rising, and it got flipped from resistance down here over to support over here recently. Right now, the Tenkan is around 3.95. And I think that we just found support here today, to be honest, on the monthly chart over here, which is not entirely unexpected. But the Tenkan is pointing up. During bear market, Tenkan points down. During bull market, Tenkan points up. So far, we're pointing up. I do think that there's still more juice coming because we had a bullish cross over here. So the Ichimoku cloud on the monthly is telling you that the trend is up. If you look at the Bollinger Band, the trend is up. You actually have a little bit more of a Bollinger Band expansion over here compared to Bitfarms. And you also have the 20-month moving average really kind of crawling down, crawling up again. There's a pretty clear trend change over here. Got back tested here a couple of times, or getting close to back tested a couple of times. And so far is serving as support. And the 20-month moving average is pointing up, so it's telling you that it's going to be a lot higher probability that this is going to be a bull trend. It's probably to spend a whole year on the upper part of the Bollinger Band. That also is giving you a lot of confidence that this is going to be more of a bull trend developing, and it could just be the start of it. There's a strong level over here. I'm going to show you here in a little bit on a volume shelf, but there's a lot of energy that's being built up here. But overall, the trend based on all these indicators are bullish. Now, instead of looking at the monthly, let's look at the weekly. If the weekly is going to show you a lot more clearer picture. Big giant cup right here and a smaller cup. All of these seems to be more of an accumulation pattern. The more it tries to break above these resistance level over here, the more likely it's going to end up breaking through. And when it breaks through, because how long price has spent for about a whole year or so trying to eat into all of this supply up here, trying to break the resistance up here, I think once it breaks, it can go up in a hurry, right? And you look at the buying signature volume-wise, you're increasing buying volume over here. Big, giant buy volumes over here for a couple of weeks. Now, even though the price is kind of gone sideways, when you have buy volume, it's still increasing. When you have sell volume, it's still decreasing. I think it's pretty clear in terms of what I'm showing you here. So the weekly trend based on volume signature is still very favorable. Now I'm going to pull up some of the other stuff here, such as the Ichimoku cloud. It's above the weekly cloud. It got above a bit, went back down, back tested it, bounced again. Right now it's above of it. You have weekly, there's also a bull trend because Tenkan is also above the Kijun. You have a little bit of a weekly bullish crossover here. And basically it's just bouncing up, and now it's trying to back test some of the levels down here. Guess what? There's a confluence between the monthly Tenkan, the monthly red line, and the weekly blue line, the weekly Kijun is at 3.95. This confluence of support over here was tested, and it bounced from it earlier today. Doesn't mean that it's going to keep going up from here and not go back down and test some of the levels. No. But all I'm saying right now is that it does seem like it's forming a little bit of higher high over here, doesn't it? Yeah, right now it's trying to find a higher low. How low is the higher low going to be? I don't know. So far, we're at some pretty good supports over here. But overall, this is still a bull trend. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Just forming a higher high. Try to find a higher low before continuation. I did not really entirely expect this to break. I think they're going to keep tricking us, and they're going to keep really demoralize you a little bit further. When I see something like that, and when I see the trend, when I see the formation, I decided to start a position of this in April of 2024, and I'm still buying this stock right here. Whenever price is below $5, to me, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if it's all the way down here. I don't care if it's all the way underneath over here too, before it breaks support. Oh, sorry, before it breaks resistance. I don't care if I'm going to buy whenever price is under $5 as much as I can. If it gets lower, I'll try my best to buy more. There's always a limited amount of funds, so I'm going to do it a little bit in the scaling in kind of way. But the majority of my position has already been built. So those are the Ichimoku cloud. If you look at the moving averages, you can see that 20 is above 50, is above 100. All three are pointing up. This is a very clear bull trend that just started probably around like October or so. So this is just really been started not long ago. there's a lot of support down here below because of that. So I think this is overall a very, very favorable type setup if you want to look at different levels. Some level look at, I already showed you like 3.95 was a pretty big level. You also look at levels such as 3.5, which is going to be the rising 20. Right underneath of that 3.2, you also have a very, very strong pointing up level over here. And even all the way down here, I doubt it's going to backtest all the way down, but you never know. But there are a lot, the stronger supports right underneath over here with these weekly moving averages all pointing up. So we'll see where it takes us. If you look at the volume shelf levels, I'm just going to go from, when it first got incepted here. You really try to find support over here at a very, very important level around $4. There's a volume shelf over here. If it breaks below that, yes, it could be at risk of bringing all the way back down to the low threes, like 3.2 or something like that, or it can end up bouncing at the 3.5 level. All of these are the same levels I'm showing up here at the moving averages over here, like 3.5, 3.2, somewhere around there. Same thing on the volume shelf, but right now it's a very, very important area of volume shelf over here. Looks like it's finding support. There's no guarantee it's going to go down. If it goes down, can it find support over here at this bigger volume shelf over here around 3.8? Sure it can. So far the trend is bullish, so I'm less worried. I'm more worried about this repeated breakout over here, or repeated attempts to break out on this resistance zone over here. If it breaks, I'm more worried about missing this big giant move from anywhere from like $4 to $5 all the way up to like $10. There's really not a whole lot of resistance in terms of volume shelf right around here, and there's also not really a whole lot of like price history here. So there's perceivable that it can end up just breaking above. It might end up getting a little bit of resistance around like $8 or so, but $10 is really the big dog over here. When we're around time when it starts IPO, before all this bear market stuff started happening. These are some of the important levels to pay attention to. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud on the weekly, there are also a lot of support levels down here below too, around 3.5. If it backtests that, and it could be at the top of the cloud over here, but it's already backtesting some of the Kijun and Tenkan lines over here, which is so far finding support. We'll see what happens. I do like the way that the volume signature is looking. I do like the way that the formation is looking. So I'm going to end up staying in it, and we'll see what happens. We'll go from there. Thank you so much. It's been closer to 20 minutes. Thank you for listening about Bitfarms and for Cypher. Have a good one. Bye.